Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining. Hi, I'm Darshan Patel. I'm Enterprise Technical Solution Architect. And today we are going to talk about Wi-Fi 6E security part 2. So let's take a step back and go through the purpose of it. What does the Wi-Fi 6E security provided us is making that WPA3 and PMF mandatory. With the help of WPA3, we are going to have a better encryption, an improved encryption to provide better security for our wireless client devices. And on top of that, we are going to have protective management frames that is going to help the bad actors that go ahead and try to take access over the data or control, like man-in-middle attack and various other wireless attacks could be avoided. The third best part, it is no backward compatibility. So your iPhone 4 or iPhone initial devices like iPad 2 or iPad 1 or Android version 10 years back, they won't be able to connect. Or like a barcode scanner that requires WPA, that won't be able to connect to it as well. So in a way, it is a step forward to have more improved security. But we have to be careful as well, like what devices it cannot connect. So let's understand about what do we have. So for instance, can we use a single WLAN or an existing SSID that you have in your corporate using PEEP TLS or PEEP for BYOD or your PSK SSID? Well, the answer is yes, we can. But before that, we need to take some precautions. So we can reconfigure our existing WLAN with PMF becoming mandatory and WPA3 as mandatory as well. So for Apple devices, it has been supporting since iPhone 7 onwards, and iPad with the 5th generation. Apple TV 4K has been supporting it, and MacBooks since 2013 it is supporting. So there is no reason to be afraid going with this configuration if we know that these are the type of devices that we have it. Moving on to, we have Android support. And Android support is being there for Android 10 and Android 12 onwards. It is supporting as well. One important piece over here is Android devices has been early adopters, and we have seen a tremendous amount of devices that are able to connect to Wi-Fi 6E. On Intel chipset side, it can support from AX210, AX211 onwards. And we need to be careful about where the fast transition is being disabled. So fast transition is not supported on Windows, while fast transition adaptive is not supported on Android, and on Apple, fast transition is only enabled on M1 devices and M2. So we learned over here what type of devices. So we need to take a step back and understand which WLAN in our environment are supporting it. Going back like, hey, do we have wireless printers on corporate WLAN or barcode scanners? Well, then the answer is we need to redesign it and make it more, segregate the traffic better so we can have a better WLAN or wireless design created. Let's take a look into what can we configure on our Catalyst 9800. So let's take a look. This is our 9800 wireless controller running 1792, and we have 9166, 64, and 9120 access points. And take a look at the wireless clients that we have it. So we have created a few SSIDs that it can support it, which is having our SAE or just in SSIDs like just PSK and Enterprise PEEP. Those two WLANs have been configured to have just WPA3 and PMF that we discussed. So let's take a look into the configuration of WLANs. So we go into WLANs. This is our previously, which was called passphrase or PSK. Now it is known as simultaneous authentication of equals, which is still require a password that can be shared. And under security, we can see over here, we have enabled in general 6 GHz, and security, we have enabled under layer 2 as WPA3 only, and WPA3 policy with parameters, AES encryption that has been configured, fast transition has been disabled over here, protective management frame is required. Under authentication key management, we are going to use SAE. Since this is the same WLAN that we are using, we are using SAE password element for both H2E and HNP. It is H2 element that is required for 6 GHz SSID. Now we saw that, so that is good from the PSK. Let's take a quick look from our PEEP TLS. Hey, it looks like it has been enabled, but it is giving us an error. Hey, .1AX is enabled. So let's take a look into what configuration we have. Looks like we don't have it. So let's configure it with WPA3 over here, WPA3 policy. And under that, we are going to have AES encryption, protective management frame required. Fast transition won't work, so we will disable it. And .1x SH8256 will be configured, and we will update and apply. So that will help us to understand whether the configuration that we are making, whether it's working or not. So once this configuration has been successful, we will look into what we have learned. Let's take a look back with the clients, whether our clients are still being there and still supporting it. Going back into active and looking into enterprise PEEP, this is an Apple MacBook Pro going back to 2019. And as we can see, it is configured and connected on 9166 access mode. And another device is connected with the PSK on 9166. What advantage that we are having is we are going to have a simplified approach that we have it towards it. And that will be a cleanest and a simple way of adopting it. No new WLANs or SSIDs or profiles that we need to configure it. A better and more secure with the WPA3. Well, I'm really by that. WPA3 and PMF, sure, sign me up. But we need to be cautious as well. If the older devices are still using that same WLAN, it is going to break access for them. So we need to figure it out a way, what other design that we can have it that will make them work. And requires full control on client devices and drivers. So for corporate LAN, it will work definitely really well, where only laptops are being configured, or your specific type of devices which has been profiles had been configured and tested. Or if we want to bring a BYOD and say that, okay, moving onwards, we are going to have those devices only. So that will work. And even IPSK or PSK, or now it's known as SAE, we can call it. This is what we are going to support with WPA3 and PMF. So potential is a lot for an easier access, lot of different connectivity, and access to 6 GHz for the clients or consumer devices that can support it. But we need to be cautious. Thank you for joining. And in next session, we are going to talk about a single SSID with the two profiles and how will that work. Thank you.